I must say that Wicked is surprisingly good, which is quite something considering that I'm not a huge fan of musicals. If you're looking for a film that is appropriate for the entire family, then this is the one because I highly recommend it and it's just simply worth the time in my opinion. Well, when I had heard about this film earlier in the year, I was saying to myself, oh no, this is going to be a disaster. And the reason I say that is because I grew up watching the original Wizard of Oz, and I didn't want this to be mediocre to take my memories of that beloved classic. But I'm happy to say that this is worth the price of admission just because there are some very nice moments peppered throughout its runtime. With that being said, there are some moments as well that felt absolutely rushed, and the film drags on due to the long runtime. But for the most part, I enjoyed this, and while I don't think this is one of the better movies of this year, at least there is a lot to like about this one. Oddly enough, this film was never marketed as part 1, so when I saw that, I was like, what? Why not just call the film Wicked Part 1? And as far as my history with The Wizard of Oz, I've only ever seen the 1939 movie. Speaking of which, I know that this one is based off the musical, which is actually based on the 1995 novel. So going into this, I didn't know much, but I did know that Elphaba would eventually become the Wicked Witch of the West that we see early on in that film. And speaking of which, I thought that Cynthia Erivo did such a great job playing Elphaba. Like seriously, I care a lot for this character. I mean, she has green skin, so she gets criticized all throughout this movie. And speaking of which, her friendship with Glinda actually was worthwhile. Ariana Grande, she too did a great job. I was a little bit hesitant about acting. You know why? Because I heard that she is not a good actress over the years. Now, whether that was early on in her career, I don't know. I actually only heard a few songs from her. I'm not a big fan of her music. But I have to say, definitely a highlight. She's playing the typical mean girl here. And just seeing her and Elphaba become friends, it definitely is very enjoyable. Another standout is Jonathan Bailey. I like this character. Especially there are parts in the film where he actually cares a lot for said character, which I won't spoil for anyone who hasn't seen this yet. But particularly what was real interesting were the musical numbers. Every song had purpose. And even though I don't like when stories do part 1s, this still was worth the journey. Was I a little bit annoyed and on cliffhanger? Absolutely. I don't like when films do that because, well, I like to see a complete film. Now we gotta wait about nearly a year before we see part 2. Anyway though, this film, it definitely is interesting in so many aspects. The cinematography, the CGI. Definitely it has that Wizard of Oz feel to it. And speaking of which, Jeff Goldblum, he's not in the movie much, but he definitely did a good job as well. But this falls short of greatness. The reason being is because it drags on too long. Seriously, 2 hours and 40 minutes. Why this movie could have been, 2 hours? There's parts where it slows down and it hurts the film to a slight extent. Not enough to make this like a dumpster fire or nothing like that, but it does drag on too long. Basically, if they would have cut it down to that runtime I just said a second ago, they made it would have flowed better in my opinion. Still though, a entertaining adventure nonetheless. Definitely, I probably would rank this up there with being one of the better musicals I've seen the last couple of years. And despite some issues here and there, this is still quite a journey from beginning to end. I'm giving this film a 7 out of 10. This is definitely quality entertainment, I'll say, for the entire family. Kids will love this, adults will appreciate it, especially for those who grew up watching the Wizard of Oz movie. There's certainly a lot to like here. The character development is done really well. And when it's all said and done, this is an interesting origin story of both Elphaba and Glinda. And that's my review of Wicked. Okay, leave your comments down below in the section and let me know what you think about this movie. Alright, This is Slim Guy 172 saying, peace out.